Will we be getting a new game mode in 2023? For those who were around during the 7th anniversary, we ended up getting a survey that talked about new game modes. I think it was something about a new game mode. And they also had a... I'm not sure if they were right after the other or if it was a little bit later or somewhere else in the survey. But they also had different types of genres of games, such as turn-based, strategy, fighting, and I think there was like a couple others as well. And I'm wondering what kind of game modes could they do? Because right now we really only have two game modes. We have our normal game modes, like the action-based element to it, and quests. Pretty much the vast majority of the game, honestly. But we also have auto battlers. Now you might be thinking, what? Auto battlers? Yeah, it's basically brave battles. I mean, you turn it on, select your team, and have them fight till one side wins. So that's basically an auto battler. And I've been thinking, well, what game mode could they do that would probably require the least amount of reworks? Because think about it. I mean, look how long it's taken to get them to the point we're at now with Resurrection. No, I'm kidding. They could do Resurrections quicker if they wanted to. They're just not going to. But if we take a look at, for example, Yamamoto here, well, you have normal, and then you have the arena. I believe the arena is the more recent game mode. I don't know exactly when that came out. And then it has its own, like all stats, percentage, and different other types of traits and bonuses that you can get. And then you have the normal side of things, strong attack, recharge, and that. I don't think that applies to arena, right? It doesn't look like it. And those are the support characters linked. So you do have that. So if they do add a new game mode, you would probably get another tab that would have normal stats, whatever the heck it is, and arena. Maybe not in that particular order, but it'll basically be added to this bar, and the bar way its position would probably shift a little bit. And I'm actually kind of excited. I want to see a new game mode in Bleach Brave Souls. The reason for that is, if we were to add something like a turn-based game mode into the game, it could attract new players into the game, saying, hey, here's a turn-based side of things, and you have the action side of things, and you also have, arena. Well, there's people who like arena, and I like it too, but I just haven't been in the mood to play it the last couple months. When I first started playing the game and I tried it, I was like, oh wow, this is actually pretty fun. And then I just kind of just not interested in it, honestly, at this point. So having another type of game mode that I could play, hopefully if you do add the new game mode, it not utilize soul tickets, and it require its own form of not currency, what do they call it, like stamina system or energy system. Or go the senkaimon route and not require anything. Honestly, I really think they should change the soul ticket system. Not the later end of it, like how many soul tickets you use, but for all ×1 runs, like when you're only using a single soul ticket, I honestly don't think anymore it should require the use of a soul ticket. So like if you were to go to do quests, to complete stories, no, it should not require the soul tickets. If you're gonna go do like events, like the point event right here, if you're doing a ×1 run where you're only using a single soul ticket, it should not require a soul ticket. And the reason why I believe that is because if you're gonna be farming something, you're gonna be doing the ×10 or the ×5 run. Because let's do a ×10 run right here. Since I got 60 soul tickets from the subscription and 20% more rewards when I do a ×10 run, if I click that and I click OK, let's go, I will end up getting 12 soul tickets worth of rewards for a single run. So if you're worried about farming everything in a very efficient manner, Like, you know, like you're going to be spending orbs on this. You're going to be spending potentially, like the whales are going to be spending money on this to buy orbs, to utilize the soul ticket times 10 run. Because when you think about it, this, I believe, takes about a minute to do currently with this Yamamoto, the way I have it set up. And if you were to do 12 runs, effectively what you'd have to do to get the same time, the same rewards as a times 10 run with 12 soul tickets as a reward. Or not 12 soul tickets, but 12 soul tickets worth of rewards from the times 10 run. You're going to be looking at 12 minutes. So 12 minutes to do what I just did here in 1 minute. But it's actually going to take longer than that, because you got loading screens for every single time you decide to do the single run. So you're still going to be heavily incentivized. Look, 54 seconds. Now, if I want to do another run, I got to click this, wait for this to load, click that, click this, wait for that, wait for this to pop up, close, retry, wait for this to load, then I click this, and then I, you know, like if I were to click this, and then I would have to click OK, and then I would have to click Start Quest. And you got to do that for every single run. So every time you do that for times 1 run, it's going to take longer than double the amount of, or not double, the, you know, let's say you need to do it 12 times. It's going to take more than 12 times the amount of time to actually do that, because that's like probably like 15-20 seconds every time in between, depending on how quickly it loads and how efficient you are being every time you do a times 1 run. Now, if you're here's the other thing, macros. You can do macros and do times 1 runs that way, but still, if you're going to be running a macro, you might as well be doing times 10 runs. That's the thing. Either way, the amount of rewards you get from doing times 10 soul tickets worth of rewards would be heavily incentivized for there. So that's honestly why I think they should do that. And I'm kind of leery about the new game mode utilizing soul tickets, because so many of the game modes already require soul tickets. I was gonna say versus battle, but I meant quests. Point of, like, you have story, sub stories, chronicle quest, events. Co-op and epic raids require soul tickets. Now, granted, if you are joining a lobby and doing times 1 run in co-op, it doesn't require soul tickets as long as you're doing a times 1 run. And I think they should take that system, not require a soul ticket if you're doing a times 1 run, and apply that to all of co-op, to epic raids, to chronicle quests, to sub stories, to stories and events. Anything that uses soul tickets times 1 run, do that. Because if they decide to add a new game mode, somewhere, I don't know where. I mean, since you have senkaimon here, maybe somewhere here, or maybe they decide to separate it from here. I don't know how they would do, where they would add it, or what they would do. Then, honestly, actually, I know what they could do. If they go turn-based route, they could actually probably implement more screens. Because think about how many enemies there are in a times, like in a typical level. You got 1 screen, and you got 2 screens, then the 3rd screen, 4th screen, and then the boss room. Unless you're senkaimon, then it's like 1 screen, 2 screen, then boss room. But if we go with a, I don't know, let's just say turn-based game mode, you could have more than 5 screens, and it'd probably be okay. You know, just one, because of the normal screen, you got to move around. Like, you know, there's like a map layout, and it's not just you know, just like for example, in Naruto Shippuden and Blazing, the screen like you would have, like, say the whole screen right now where you see everything on Bleach Brave Souls. Imagine that's the whole map. You can't move to the left and scroll over to the left, or scroll up, or scroll right, or move around. That is the map that you see right on the screen. There's nothing hiding in the off screen to the left, right, up, or down. So if we were to have a screen like that for turn-based, the maps could be simpler. Like, they don't have to be as expansive as they are in the current action version of Bleach Brave Souls. And then they could add more content in the turn-based side of things. And if you have, like, you know, the left side being one team or the right side being one team, if they want to go the JRPG, like the older school JRPG route, or they could go with the Naruto Shippuden Blazing route, where you just kind of position your characters on screen, and then there's a certain radius around them that will vary depending on what character you have. Small range, medium range, large range, and maybe like the vast range, kind of like Naruto Shippuden had. And, you know, if they're within the range, you can attack, and if you're in the range of the enemy, they could counterattack when you move into range and attack them. So it's like little strategic things like that that could be really cool, and it opens up, you know, a little bit more depth when you're, you know, doing runs. That could be cool. I honestly, if they added the Naruto Shippuden Blazing turn-based side of things into this game as well, and start giving us content in there, as well as, you know, new guild quests, new difficult quests, when they inevitably, probably in 2023, decide to add a new form of character progression. New senkaimon floors could also be cool. Honestly, what I would personally really like to see with senkaimon as well. Okay, we get it. I know. By the way, I haven't even started this yet. 6 days left, so I got plenty of time left. Anywho, so you have normal and extreme. And the senkaimon goes from, I think, the 5th to the 25th, if my math is correct, of, you know, like the date of the month. I would kind of like a cycle to where there's a senkaimon up all the time. You know, let's say, hey, these 4, like, right here, or better yet, since they already exist. Let's say if I want to do the Tower Forging with the Warrior's Path, they're going to be available from, like, the 15th to the... Or let's just go with the 5th to the 25th. Okay? And then you have Cave of Diligence and Iceberg Training available from the... What was it? The 25th to the 15th. You know? So they're always up. Some kind of senkaimon. That could be cool. And even if it's not the normal and extreme, or maybe you add new... what do they call it? Towers to do that with. That could be kind of cool. Of course, then you kind of have the aspect of where I don't really want to do senkaimon. I don't want to feel like I'm always doing senkaimon where it's up. But I don't know. That's another video. Back to the new game mode. That would be the game mode I would personally like to see. I would not really care, in my opinion, for a what do they call it? A fighting game, kind of like Dragon Ball Legends. That does not interest me. It's probably cool and would probably be very popular, but it just doesn't interest me. We already got Brave Battles. We already got Arena. Arena being the more recent game mode. I would like to see a turn-based mode first, a PvE side of things, and then at some point in the future, maybe like 3-4 years down the line, you add a Dragon Ball Legends type game mode for Bleach Brave Souls. And the reason why I say to keep it into Bleach Brave Souls is because it would be the ultimate mobile game. If you have a bunch of different game modes in Bleach Brave Souls, this game is more likely to just keep on going because there's just so many things to do. Hey, you know what? I don't feel like Brave Battle or Guild, not Brave Battles, not Guild Quest, but Arena. But I really like this Dragon Ball Legends style fighting thing. I'm gonna play that. I don't feel like doing any of the PvE content. I'm just gonna stick with you know, because you already have your account. It's already built up enough. You already have tons of resources. You don't need to farm or anything, and you just want to play the PvP side of things in the Dragon Ball Legends style fighting game mode. Then you could have people like me. I was like, you know what? I'm kind of getting bored of the point event and all the other content in the game. But the turn-based side of things, the turn-based game mode, I'm just gonna play that, and that is, I think, how you retain players in the long run. Because diversity, in the game mode style of things, is just like really, really, like, it extends the gameplay, like how much you can enjoy Bleach Brave Souls. For example, I've been playing Elden Ring a lot lately on Steam, because there's a rumored DLC announcement coming sometime soon. Because they data mined it, and there's apparently going to be up to 30 new bosses potentially in the DLC. I hope they do a bunch of DLC for Elden Ring, so it just continually expands the game. Like I would say like 3 to 5 DLCs for the game, like paid expansions. But that's just me being hopeful. But with Elden Ring, that's a one style of gameplay. Now eventually, let's just say 100 hours in, I start to get bored of it. Well, maybe I decide to go play StarCraft 2. It's an RTS game, not a Souls-like game. And I might enjoy playing a lot of StarCraft 2 for a while. And then I come back to Elden Ring, and the Elden Ring feels fun again. And that's kind of what I'm talking about, but built into this one game. If K-Lab is planning for this game to be continuous, like their cow for like the next 10, 20 years, that is the thing they gotta do. They gotta build a system that will allow them to add different kinds of game modes into Bleach Brave Souls. And honestly, what I'm thinking of would be kind of crazy. We're kind of thinking small here. What if they add a mini game style? You know how you have, like, for those who played the Nintendo 64, you might have heard of a game called Mario Party, or maybe Pokemon Stadium. They had mini games in there. Now imagine if they were to implement like a mini game where, for example, there's like tree logs that would fall down, and you gotta hit a button at the perfect timing, because there's like a pattern, like like a line going across the log, and if you get it the closest to the center in that line, you get more points. And it's just like a stupid mini game that could be like really, really fun. It's like a party mini game, or a party game that you could just pull up. And if you add something like that in here as well, along with other types of mini games, that would also extend it. It would be like the ultimate Bleach mobile game. Like, if you have it where, Bandai Namco, let's just say, decides, hey, you know what, I want to make a Bleach game. I'm going to make a turn-based fighting game. Yeah, it might be popular, it might be interesting, but it ain't going to touch this game because of how much different types of game modes that the Bleach Brave Souls would have. That's the kind of thinking that I would personally start doing for my mobile games. Like, if I was in charge of a big, successful mobile game, I wouldn't stick with just 1 or 2 game modes. I would try and, over time, add more and more game modes to the game. Now you might be thinking, well, why don't you just make another Bleach game and have it separate from Bleach Brave Souls? And the reason for that would be, well, if, let's just say I did a party game, and that just pops off because it's casual friendly, to the point where, it's making 10 times the amount of money that Bleach Brave Souls is making. Well, now I have less incentive to focus on Bleach Brave Souls. Gotta think. These are companies. These are corporations. They tend to focus on the billion-dollar games where they just make so much money off the one game, and then they go all in on that one game, to the detriment of having a diversified portfolio where they could fall back on. I would basically focus on Bleach Brave Souls. So if, let's just say, Bleach Brave Souls itself is, let's just say, making $1 million a day. I don't know. But I add this new party mode, like, those talking about, like, those party games, style mini games to Bleach Brave Souls as something you can do on the side. And heck, wouldn't that be nice for the streamers? Think about it. How many times do you see Spiteful Hopes, go out and play some of those, like, like a Fall Guys, or Bleach Cowboy, play something like Fall Guys, where It's more casual. And they like playing that. Now, what if you bring that kind of game out to Bleach Brave Souls, where it's like like a party game where you can stream and then have your people, like your fans, come in and play with you. You're gonna have potential increase in viewership. Casual people tuning in and be like, oh, what is this? Oh, it's Bleach Brave Souls. And they're like, what is Bleach Brave Souls? I thought that was, maybe some of them might have heard of it. It's like, I thought that was like a action game. It's like, yeah, but it also has these type of game modes. You can draw in the casuals, and then not just say, instead of making $1 million a day, now you're making $11 million a day. In the, after a certain amount of time after word gets out, and if they market it correctly. Because you have casual aspects of the game, but you also have hardcore aspects of the game. And they're not gonna, and you can use your favorite character to play the casuals. It'll be for like the party mode or the party game. It'll just be like skins. It's like, hey, I'm gonna take this 6-star Ichigo in here because I pulled him from the game, and I'm gonna play the party game. And it doesn't matter if or better yet, let's just take a really shit character that no one really talks about anymore because it's so old. Let's scroll down here. Let's take this cat. I believe this is a Metal Exchange character, right? So let's just take this cat. Oh, what if you decided, hey, you know what? I want to use this cat in the minigame. Well, you'd be able to. And you don't have to worry about the stats or the skills of the character or the fact that it's a coin drop character. You can just use the cat and it'll be casual. So it'll still incentivize the people who are casuals to spend money on the game. Because if we go, it's like, hey, you know what? Let's see what kind of characters we got. And the characters for the party game will be like, it's like, oh, there's Yoruichi. I like Yoruichi in the anime. So, you know what? I'll summon for this banner and they'll do a couple multis. Or they like Halibel. Or they just like chasing their waifus. They'll summon for this banner to try and pull all the waifus on here. So there's just so much potential for the casual market. All in one game. And then when they go tell their investors, hey, yeah, we used to be making $1 million a day, but now we're making $11 million a day average, because of the new content we've added to Bleach Brave Souls. And that'll incentivize them to work and expand Bleach Brave Souls as a whole. So, honestly, that is why I would personally stick to this just one game. Because the more you incentivize them, different types of game modes to play, it's honestly part of the reason why the party games in general, like like Mario Party, the Pokemon Stadium, you just had so many different types of mini games that were fun to play, that if you were to add different game modes in here, it'd be kind of like every single one of the new game modes would be a new type of mini game in the old ones, that you just will inevitably have people tune in. Hey, I'm not a fan of the guild quest or the PvP elements, but I'll play the party games. Or I'm not really a fan of the party games, but I'll play the turn-based mode and the guild quests and the like the main stuff. So that is the kind of planning that I would personally move Bleach Brave Souls in, just to get ahead of the other games. Because right now you have auto battlers and you have PvP elements, and you also have your action-based side of things for the game. That still leaves room for other games to outdo you in the Bleach Brave Soul, or the Bleach universe of games. So I think that's pretty much it. I could probably talk about this topic for like another half hour to an hour, because I'm a big fan of diversifying what type of game modes and style of games you have within a game. It's one of the reasons why MMORPGs can be popular, like really popular. Or if you take like an RPG like The Witcher 3, there are people who will play The Witcher 3, not for the story, not for the combat, but literally to play Gwent, the card game within Witcher 3. In fact, they went so far as to make a actual card game. I think they even called it Gwent. That was separate from The Witcher 3. It's like, hey, you know what? There are people who are just playing Gwent. You know what? Let's make it a game. Its own game. And yeah, they did. So that is my reasoning for this. And I mean, heck, Pokemon Stadium, for example, there would be times where I'd be playing with my cousin. He would come over and we'd play Pokemon Stadium. We would do the battling aspects of it, you know, maybe try and beat the gym challenge, cup, or whatever the heck they called it. There'd be times where I'll actually put the cartridge into the back and play a little bit of the Pokemon Red, Blue, or Yellow, and I think Gold and Silver, if it was Pokemon Stadium 2. Or I would transfer some I would use some of the characters from those games, or not characters, Pokemon from those games, and, you know, use it to challenge the, you know, certain game modes in there, like the gyms. Because if you were to go and reach the end of the gym challenge and beat the Elite Four, I believe you got access to like a certain select Pokemon you could get from Pokemon Stadium. Like you could get, like, I think, like the starters and some other ones as well. So that was cool. But then, let's say if I got sick of the Pokemon battling, I could go play the mini games, all within that one game. And I think that's part of the reason why Pokemon Stadium 1 and 2 are as praised as they are today. If you just had Pokemon Stadium 1 and 2, and it only had the gym battles and the Poke Cups and those things, I don't think the game would have been anywhere near as talked about as it was. Or if they just had the mini games. The fact that they had both and you can go back and forth between two, it's like the Pokemon fans' ultimate game. The fact that they haven't done a game like that since Pokemon Stadium 2 is honestly a disservice to the Pokemon franchise. I think that game could be, like, really popular. Or just go full blown on making a Pokemon mini game system, kind of like how you have Mario Party. Call it Pokemon Party. PP for short. Anywho, that's it. Thanks for watching. Have a nice day. I'll see you guys next time. Peace.